I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as the Honorable Gabriel Reese gives our invocation.
Almighty God, we acknowledge that you will hold us to account for the way we legislate and administer the affairs of our township and its fine people. We pray for your guidance as we do so. We pray that you would find us protecting the rights of all at all times, that our community and this nation will fulfill all your purposes. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Clerk Sanders, please take the roll.
Trustee King.
Here.
Trustee Reese.
Here.
Trustee Jackson.
Here.
Trustee Taylor, absent. Treasurer Kavanaugh. Here. Clerk Sanders here. Supervisor McCray.
Here, quorum is present. Okay. So next we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
To the chair,
Trustee Jackson.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been supported by Treasurer Kavanaugh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have citizen comments. First up is Rosetta Howard. And when you come up to give your citizen comment, please give your name and address for the record.
Thank you. My name is Rosetta Howard, address 26146 West 6th Mile, Redford Township. Of all the many hats I wear here in Redford, today I'm coming in as the Vice President of the Western View Neighborhood Association, letting our neighbors know in our area that we are back live and active, and we have a meeting coming up next Thursday, and we would like to find out and welcome all people within our boundaries, which is west of Telegraph, east of Beach Daily, north of Schoolcraft, and south of the Western Golf Course to come to our meeting. It's next Thursday at the Redford Community Center. That's 12121 Hemingway. And I've learned today that I will no longer be doing the newsletters. But our speaker will be our Honorable Superintendent, our Supervisor, Pat McCray. How about that?
How about that? Thank you. Next is George, and I can't read Patrice wrote for your last name. I know it's Carr something.
Okay. No problem.
Don't let her fill that out for you again, all right?
All right, well, good evening, Honorable Board. My name is George Carderas. I work with the Redford Township Leisure Services Department. So I'm the new facilities manager for the community center that will be opening up. So pleasure to meet any of you guys that I haven't. I've been here a couple months now. So nice to meet all you guys. Just want to come and share a couple upcoming events and plans we have in our department. As a department as a whole, we have a ton of new things happening kind of all at once, which is an exciting time for us. So we'll be trying to send an employee about once a month from our department that's not Teresa to kind of update on everything that's going on. Like I said, because we do have a lot of stuff. So coming up in the next couple of months, we have our Adult vs. Kids Soup Cook-Off coming in March that you're still able to sign up for. The Wayne County Parks, we partnered with them. They're coming to do a Nature Explorer evening in March as well. We are excited to start utilizing the new pickleball courts that will be at Handy Park this spring. We're going to start a bunch of different leagues there, and also we have classes taught by a pickleball pro that we have. We'll also be expanding our archery programs, as well as our department hired our new senior coordinator who started about a month ago. So she's busy scheduling trips and activities for seniors for this upcoming year as well. We do have a senior Valentine's Day party coming up this week, and a free DIA trip that you can still sign up for as well on February 27th for the Melodies at the museum. Lastly, I just wanted to note that the progress on the new center is going great, and we're excited to start sharing more information on the amenities and memberships and stuff like that on the specifics soon. So that'll be coming up very shortly for us as well. As I said, most of this stuff you can still register for. If you guys ever want to register, anyone wants to register, you got to come into our offices or feel free to give us a call. We can register you over the phone. We are excited to be able to announce online registration will be starting soon, though, as well. So that's a big thing for our department and save our residents the hassle of having to come into the offices. But that is it for now. So thank you guys for your time. And like I said, if anyone has any questions or anything like that, feel free to contact me or anyone in our department. We'll be happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Michael Vental.
Thank you so much. My name is Michael Vantul, Chief of Staff for Wayne County Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick. It's great to be here with our esteemed leadership and our great supervisor, Pat McRae. I just wanted to, I'm down to my last calendars, and I'll leave some here tonight, but it includes our fine police chief here in Redford Township, our fire chief, both of our 17 district court judges are featured in the calendar also. So make sure and pick up your copy. And it's good to see Western View in the house today. Again, Mike Vantul with Commissioner McCormick, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Next, we have Arthur Mellows. Thank you, sir.
My name is Arthur Mellows. I live over on the, basically on the corner of Joy Road and Beach Daily. That area, before the car wash was put in, was very dangerous. We have gardens and things that we have in the backyard, and my daughter, who's 9 years old, we have lived there for 10 years. And we'll sit back there and say, it's like living in the middle of a racetrack. I welcome you to come over and sit in the front of our driveway and watch the insanity that ensues. We have spoken to the police, and they say, we do everything we possibly can, which I think that they do. But they could be handing out tickets like mad if they actually observed what's going on there. The second problem is that now they put a car wash there. And every day, if it's sunny out, it is even more dangerous, not only because of the cars turning into the car wash, but the cars coming out. Already since the car wash is opened, have been multiple car accidents there. Now they have actually kids, not grown-up security guards, they're kids. They have orange vests on or green vests on. They're standing in the middle of the road. I have seen people swerving to not hit them. And there's not one car or two cars. They'll be lined up all the way down the block, taking up one lane, and then also taking up the turn lane to turn left into Joy Road. It's a very dangerous situation, and someone is going to be killed. I'll guarantee this. Come and observe what's going on there, and you'll go, yeah, we have to do something. Obviously, there's a business there, and we don't want to get rid of businesses. But this particular business, we need to address something there, either putting in more lanes somehow, which would be, obviously an extravagant expenditure to do, but someone is going to be killed. And that's on every single person who knows about it. Every day when I drive past there, I'm coming home and I know what's happening in the lane. There's going to be 10 cars waiting to turn into the car wash on both sides. People over here on this lane don't realize that, and they're rushing up, and all of a sudden they have to stop. Then the worst part of it is then they swerve into your lane, okay? And the kids who are directing traffic now are out in the middle of the lanes, and you think that that's not going to happen. I am sorry to say that this is going to happen. It's not if, it's when. We need to do something about it.
Agreed.
And it has to be done. Already, we've always said, wow, this is just insane how this area, everybody's speeding through. They have all these race cars. And if you come and sit in my driveway, you'll go, what is going on here? Why isn't this being addressed? Now we have literally chaos being thrown into it because of the cars. The cars will come out of there's not even 20 feet when the cars come out of the car wash.
Yep.
And then they have to turn left or right.
Okay.
Well, they shouldn't be allowed to turn right or left. They should always turn right, but then they do a U-turn in the middle of the street, not even 100 feet away from a...
Arthur?
Yes.
We allow 3 minutes. I'll give you an extra
Okay.
minute because I know this is very emotional for you, and we are working on that. It's not being ignored, so more will follow.
Yes.
So I just want you to make sure that I feel, and many people here in this room feel the same way you do.
Yeah,
Okay?
I
So we're working on it. It's something will be happening soon, so.
I understand
Okay.
the expenditure and everything
Okay,
else.
so, and I'm already talking out of sort because this is supposed to be your time to talk, not my time. I just figure this is a very important issue, and I want people to know that we are working on that.
Yeah.
Actively working on this, so, thank you, sir.
It's not
Thank
an
you for
easy,
your
it's not an easy one to solve because
No.
we do want the business.
Yep, I got you.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I just want to keep someone from being killed.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no more citizen comments. We're going to move to the first, oh, wait a minute. Yep, departmental report, and that's going to be from our assessor, Jessica Gracia. The floor is yours.
Good evening. It's nice to see so many new faces. My name is Jessica Gracer. I'm the assessor for the township. Just a couple things. I did submit a packet. I just wanted to, is this on? Is it on? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep,
So, my voice is normally loud, so, I couldn't tell if it was on or not. Okay, so just a couple, like a synopsis of last year and then what we're looking at coming into this year. I'd like to also briefly touch on really the thing that affects most of our taxpayers is any kind of, we get a lot of questions for what can we do, how can we, is there anything that you offer that can reduce your taxes, what you guys have to offer? So I'll go into that a little bit. So first and foremost, February 20th, personal property statements are due from all of the businesses. I just wanted to throw that out there as a reminder because that deadline is nearing. If you haven't done so and you qualify, there is an exemption for most personal property for values under $180,000. So I want to get that out of the way because that date is coming up. The first thing that we really do in our year is to go out and canvass properties. So most of it is based on just general course of maintenance or permit work, and that signals us to go out to the property. When we're there, we look at the whole house and we see if our records are up to date and accurate, because it is our job to catalog and put value on every property within the township. So for this past year, there was 482 permits that actually impacted value. It's pretty normal from what we've seen in years past. With that, really the next biggest thing that we do, I do have staff in the office that primarily handles sales. We're usually the first point in contact with individuals that purchase property, so they fill out their paperwork with us. And as you can see, the activity has been pretty steady over the last couple of years. I would like to go into a little bit, one of our largest influx of traffic, phone calls, complaints, is the uncapping that occurs the year after transfer of ownership. So what we're seeing is for this year, for example, our upcoming year for 2025, the commercial value is going up 9.22%. Industrial class is going up 2.36%. But residential is going up 8.46% in property values. For an individual that hasn't just purchased, it's not going to affect their taxes. Their taxes will increase at the 3.1 rate of inflation that everyone in the state of Michigan will see. But for those that have just purchased, it will significantly impact the taxes that you will pay. So if you're listening right now, you've just purchased and you want to know how that might impact you, please feel free. Please reach out to our office. We'd be happy to teach you. I can't change the law. I can't change what has already been done, but I can explain to the best of my ability so you at least can have your eyes wide open. And maybe get your mortgage company to work with you on adjusting maybe any kind of payments. So you're not shell-shocked 2 years after you purchase a property. And really, this 8.46% for 2025, this is piggybacked off of 2 years. I mean, it's great, it's appreciating values, everyone wants to see their house value increase, but it is just in the past 3 years been an increase of 37%. So that is going to significantly impact new homeowners. There is a pamphlet that I have included, not only in my packet here, it's available on our website, it's available at our counter. It's a really easy step-by-step guide, it's questions. So if you have any questions, we are here to explain. Our values are market derived, so the market has been strong. It continues to be strong. It hasn't been as strong as it has the last couple of years. However, the 8.46 is still going pretty steady, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the past. So once you receive your notice of assessment, which will be mailed out February 21st, so taxpayers can look for those in their mail. It's that form that says this is not a tax bill. Please look at it. Don't just throw it away or put it in your income tax folder. That is a projection of what you're looking at for 2025. We do give a tax estimate of what you're looking at in tax increase for the year. If you have any questions, our phone number's right on there. Please reach out. We are waiting for the calls. There is also, that'll also list the dates and times for the March Board of Review, which is the taxpayers' opportunity to appeal their values, which will be, let me just verify those dates. I'm so sorry. So those dates are running March 10th through 12th, so it's coming up quick. In years past, I included that in my packet here. It's been pretty steady. The reason for the drop in 2024 was we no longer have to take veterans exemption adjustments to our March board. So that's why there was a significant decrease. There wasn't any, it was a pretty typical appeal. Most of the appeals we are seeing are those uncappings, and we recommend anyone that is appealing to bring in a copy of their appraisal if they received one, because that's going to be the best, third-party determination of value. And again, the appeal process, you can appeal by letter, you can come in, it's really informal, it's all the board. My board is made up of taxpayers, volunteers within the community. So I encourage, please reach out, ask questions. The Michigan Tax Tribe, so then after they appeal, they have the opportunity to appeal to the state through the Michigan Tax Tribunal. It's been relatively low, the activity over the past couple of years. It did increase for 2024, but at 11 appeals, that's pretty insignificant from what I've seen historically. So that isn't anything that it's more or less basically uncappings that have occurred from what I've seen. So what can residents do? So some of the exemptions that are offered through the state one is a veterans exemption. If you are 100% disabled from a service-connected disability, if you have that qualification through the VA, you're entitled to a full exemption, except the special assessments, and you would have to come in and fill out an application with us and provide us the benefits letter. Starting in 2025, this will be the last year our veterans have to annually come in. I like this. It's hard for some of the veterans to get here. We appreciate everyone that's cooperated. Every year, we've done the best we can to work with them. But I personally really like this change in legislation, because moving forward to 2026, the exemptions will just carry over to the next year. Unless something changes, they're required to file something with us. But if you haven't filed, you need to file an initial year. So I encourage any veterans that want more information to reach out. We can go over the criteria with them. The other, another exemption that's offered, which the majority of taxpayers have, is the principal residence exemption. If you are living in your properties, your primary residence, you are entitled to a reduction in the school operating millages. You just have to own and occupy your property before June 1st or November 1st, depending on your school district. So that's been there since forever. So that's been an ongoing, a lot of people are aware when they turn in their paperwork, they also turn in their principal residence exemption. So I'm just thinking of people that may have moved in, that have owned it, but have just moved in after so much time. The last exemption that I wanted to talk about today was the poverty exemption. So based on the income and asset level of a household, we do take it to the Board of Review, and there's an application and supporting documentation, and we would reduce the taxes by 50%. So that's based on the federal poverty numbers, including an asset test, which is for 2025, it is the projected 2025 income, the projected 2025 property taxes plus 50% for the entire household. So that's for banking, investment, liquid assets. So if you feel that you could qualify, please feel free to reach out. The application's also available on our website. Beginning last year, the new legislation that went through is we are now able to go back a year. So if you qualify for this year, we can also change 1 year back. You would just have to pursue that through one of our boards. The last item I wanted to talk about was for 2025, as assessors, no one will see this here, but we do have our audits coming up. Every 5 years, the State Tax Commission audits. They pick different counties. Wayne County is chosen, so we're all going through this together. It's different criteria from 2021, but we did receive a perfect score from our 2021 audit, and I anticipate to have a similar outcome. So we're preparing and very aware of what we need to do to get ready for that. I am.
Okay, well, I just want to say up front that our assessing department, under Jessica's guidance, they do an outstanding job. They are very customer friendly, because usually a lot of people who go there, they're unhappy about their taxes, or they go up and they don't know why. And they are the great example of patience, I will say. And the last time they did this, you guys got not only 100%, but you got a nice little award for doing that. So I don't know how often it happens to anybody else, but we're very fortunate to have them here. And I thank you and your department for all your work. Questions from the board? Hearing none? Oh, good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Supervisor McCray. What I do is, generally in Treasury, there's no significant changes. So what I like to do is bring in either our investment consultant for the police and fire pension that I sit on the board, or the actuary, depending on the year. This time, Chris Kuhn, who is with Mariner, drew the short stick. So without further ado, Chris Kuhn, he's the investment consultant for the police and fire pension system.
Good evening, everyone. So I think in your packets, you should have a report with a very full cover page. And I'm going to provide a quick recap of the performance of the retirement system through year end. So on the first page, you'll see there's a market update, and this kind of walks us through what happened in 2024. I will tell you it was a year that was really dominated by interest rates. So if you think back to the start of 2024, investors were really excited about the potential for the Fed to step in and start cutting rates. And the Fed quickly turned on us and said in January, towards the end of January, February, not so fast, we don't have anything projected in the near future. And we saw interest rates climb, and the stocks and bonds both went down. By April, the market got convinced again that we were going to see some action from the Fed, and again, the Fed told us, not so fast, we're not there yet. And then in July, we saw some inflation numbers coming down a little bit quicker than we thought. We actually saw some weakness in the labor market, and investors finally said they have to do something this time, and the Fed did. And in September, they gave us the 50 basis point cut, and then came back later in the year with another quarter basis point cut. each time we saw the Fed kind of say, not so fast, we saw stocks and bonds go down. And every time we saw the market kind of think, you know what, it's finally that time again, we saw the markets go up. And what was interesting was when the markets would go up, what we often saw were large cap and tech stocks do the very best. And when the markets came down, they were the ones that were able to kind of survive the best in that environment. So if you look for the year, the S&P was up 25%. So I'm in that top group there where it says equities and coming down the 1-year column. If you come down to mid caps, you're going to see that it takes quite a bit of a haircut there. It's only 15% for the Russell mid cap. And then if you go to the Russell 2000, those are small cap stocks, it's just over 11%. So it wasn't like everything did exceptionally well. It was large cap and tech stocks that did exceptionally well, and everything did okay underneath that. You can really see that if you move over to the colorful boxes on the right side there where it says Russell Index's style returns. So there's a V, B, and G. The V stands for value stocks. The B stands for blended or the combination of the two. And then the G is for growth stocks. And then coming down, you'll see LMS. That's large, mid, small. So if you go across, you're going to see that the LG is the dark green box, right? And it was up 33%, but the LV box, or the large value stocks, were only up 14%. So that was that magnificent seven that everyone kind of heard about being talked on in the news. You know, the NVIDIAs and Amazons and Apples and Microsofts that did exceptionally well and were able to kind of hold up when the market sold off. And then if you come down towards the bottom group, you'll see that in the small cap space, the numbers here are shaved off quite a bit, right? Small value was up 8%. Small growth was up 15%. So as I said, they did not perform nearly as well as the large cap space, and particularly on the growth side. On fixed income, that's the middle group. On the left side, you'll see fixed income, and then you see the U.S. aggregate. That represents really the total fixed income market. And you look at the 1-year number there, it was 1.25. So every time we saw, the rates go up, we saw bonds sell off, we were able to eke out a small gain there. And one of the interesting things is that we did see the yield curve uninvert. So you probably have heard for a couple years the inverted yield curve, or where the short part of the yield curve was higher than the longer part of the yield curve. You can see that under the key rates section, where if you look at the 2-year, the U.S. generic government 2-year is now at the end of the year was actually lower than what the 10 and the 30-year. If you look at the one column over at the end of 23, you'll note that that was higher than both of those. So that was the normalizing of the yield curve. Unfortunately, that back end of the yield curve went up, and that trimmed some of the gains that we would have seen in fixed income. And that's why, while we collected close to 5% in income in the fixed income portfolio, we lost about 4% in the value of the bonds. So that's how we got that 1.25 at the end of the year. That makes sense to everyone? So that's kind of the backdrop for the portfolio. If we move on to page 2, we have a quick snapshot of the asset allocation of the fund. And those bars represent how far off we are from our targets. You'll note we're pretty close. I mean, the bars look maybe pretty big, but if you look at like fixed income, we're 2.5% off of our target. And the one where we're well above target is in cash. That's because the township had made a contribution in that last quarter. And if you're familiar with the fund, we receive a lump sum from the township, actually a couple of them here towards the end of the year, start of the new year. And then we spend a lot of money every month paying benefits to the retirees. So we sit with a little bit of money in the cash account knowing that we're about to spend it in the next couple months. The next couple pages actually walk you through some of the cash flows for the fiscal year to date. I will just pause on the top line of page 3. You look at the total fund. We started the fiscal year April 1st with just over $77 million, and we ended at $75 million. So we're down a little bit, but if you look across, we spent about $5 million in benefits. So the fund actually made close to $3 million in the investment side. So you can see the income was over $2 million and then almost $1 million in appreciation. So we actually did pretty good. It's just we spend a lot of money on benefits. And then we have performance on page 5. So it's a pretty good year. The fund was up almost 10%. Remember, our target's really 7%. That's where the actuary is assuming the fund will make each year. And so we're nicely ahead of that. We're a little bit behind our policy index. That's what we would expect the fund to make if everything matched the index. And so we didn't quite do that, a little bit behind. And really, it was a couple of our equity managers that didn't perform quite as well. I will point out, if you go to the 3-year number, you're going to see that we did 375 versus that policy index of 315. The reason that we underperformed is the same reason that we outperformed over that period. So the number is now obviously much smaller, right? 3% versus the 9 and 10%. 2022 was a really challenging year in the markets. So bonds were down in the neighborhood of 10 to 15%. Stocks were down over 20%. Our managers in that period actually did better and kind of helped protect the fund in that very challenging period. And then they just didn't keep pace here in the better period of 2024. And then if you look at the 5, 7, 10-year, we're up above 8% across the board there and ahead of that policy index. So longer term, we've performed very, very well. As I said, this past year, a little bit more challenging relative to our policy. If you flip the page, we have the individual strategies. The two strategies that really kind of hindered us in the past 12 months was Clarkson and Southern Sun. So you'll see that both of them underperformed in that small and mid-cap space. And if you look at their 5-year numbers, the 3-year numbers, those are where we actually outperformed because of those managers. So that's often, like I would tell you, I much rather outperform in the down market than necessarily keep pace in a really strong market, because it's a lot harder to make back lost dollars. So the international managers are on the bottom of 6. The fixed income managers are up at the top of 7. And we don't have any concerns at this point on the managers, although we're always looking to add strategies if we think it would be beneficial to the fund. And you'll probably see some new strategies come in 2025. And with that, I will pause and take any questions.
Questions from the board?
To the chair.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
I'm glad you said something. What I was going to do was have you let the board know whether or not we've terminated any companies or any strategies because of their performance, and you had said no, that we have not.
Well, not exactly. The reason I say that is we did change a custodial bank this past year. So we were with Comerica, and then we moved on to Fifth Third. And because of that, we no longer have the Comerica S&P 500 fund. We replaced it with the Fidelity 500 fund. So it's a S&P 500 index strategy. Exact same strategy, just one was managed by our custodial bank at the time. When we moved away from that custodial bank, we went to the Fidelity Fund. So,
But it wasn't due to performance.
no.
Okay, that's what I wanted to.
It was due to the performance of the custodial bank, but
True.
not to the performance of the fund.
So true. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Other questions from the board?
Go ahead.
To the chair.
Trustee Reese.
You talked about the expenditures being high relative to the growth in the past year, just that the fund went up $5 million, but we paid out $3 million or something to that effect, or the opposite.
Spent 5, went up 3,
Thank
yes.
you. Is that, how does that compare, I guess, to other municipalities that you manage?
Everyone's a little bit different. It all depends on how mature the system is. I would say this is a little bit more mature than some, just meaning you have, I want to say 300 or so retirees and 100 and some actives. So, you're definitely tilted towards your payouts are going to go up.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of the age of the system. There's there isn't like you would look at one and say, oh, you're doing much better because
Yeah.
the numbers are different. It's just how active, like how much your community's grown. Obviously, Redford, I think, is relatively size constraint, right? You're not like a Shelby Township that just keeps, going and going and going, right? I mean, we have borders here with other communities, so you're not expanding out like that and adding staff and stuff. So, I mean it, and we have been able to kind of chip away a little bit at the funding status. So I think that, making it better.
Great, thank you.
Other questions from the board?
To the chair,
Trustee Jackson.
actually to address Trustee Reese's, we are what you call an upside-down township, and we will always be upside down, meaning we will always have more retirees than we do active employees. So it's just the nature of the
It's the
beast.
conditions of the
Nothing
field.
we can do
Yeah,
about
where we
it.
are, yeah.
Other questions from the board? Hearing none, thank you so much
All
for
right,
your
no,
report.
thank you.
Thanks for being
We
here.
really appreciate working with the community.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, next is the consent agenda.
Me again.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Supervisor McCray. I move to approve the consent agenda items as follows. The minutes of the study session of January 28th of 2025. Minutes of the regular meeting of January 28th of 2025. The warrant list of bills as of February 6th of 2025 in the amount of $2,494,828.48. The 2025 IRS standard mileage rate of 70 cents. Advertisement for bids, HVAC and boilers replacement project, Redford Township multiple building facilities beginning February 24th of 2025 through March 27th of 2025. Advertisement for bids, Downtown Development Authority, DDA, streetscape maintenance contract of year-to-date, fiscal year, 2025 to 2026, beginning February 12th of 2025 through March 13th of 2025.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Questions from the board? Hearing no questions, what's the pleasure of the board?
To the chair,
Trustee Jackson.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items.
Support.
Supported by Treasurer Kavanaugh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our one new business, Chief Mansfield.
Good evening, Honorable Board. I apologize for the squawking. Believe it or not, this sounds good.
Better.
Take it for what that's worth. I'm coming before you this evening just simply to request the approval of the 3-year contract between Redford Township and the Michigan Humane Society, which would be expiring December 31st, 2027. The cost of this contract, it's a 3-tiered system. In year 1, the cost would be $82,380. In year 2, it would be $111,180. And in year 3, it would be an even $150,000. As many of you know, we have discussed during our study session, the Michigan Humane Society is our current vendor for holding stray animals and whatnot, as we hope to return them to their owners when they are picked up running around without their collars or their chips or their IDs. The cost from this contract will be covered by Department 43,000 of the general fund, and it's already been allocated for in the budget.
Well, as the board members know, we've had a study session on this just 2 weeks ago, and we talked about this and debated it and had our personal opinions on it, and I think this is where we're at this time. So what questions do we have from the board?
To the chair.
Trustee Reese.
I guess just sort of a point of information, in that session, we all talked about our desire to find a better way to manage the township's finances in this area, but really after deliberation, it was clear that getting a 3-year runway to figure out what our future long-term plans are is the only option that made sense versus a 1-year contract that jumps to $150,000 right out of the gate. So I know none of us were super, at least I should speak for myself. I wasn't super pleased that we had to make that choice.
No.
But after spending a whole study session on it, which I know a lot of residents, it's hard to get out to a 5:30 meeting, but I think this is the best choice we can make to manage the township's resources.
Anything else from the board?
Mr. Bonner.
No, they got us over a barrel.
Okay. Director Bonner.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I just want to make sure it's clear, just because of the way you worded that, Trustee Reeves, that this is not anything that we did.
Correct.
But I agree from all the work that we've been working on this, that we need time to look for other solutions. The other solutions may not be cheaper.
Correct.
But at least we'll be in control of our own destiny if we do go that route.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else from the board?
To the chair.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Being in your spot many, many years ago, my hat's off to you as to everything that you're trying to do in order to save us money, find, comparable. It's going to take a minute because of the situation that we're in and surrounding communities. You got to get partners. So, like I said, my hat's off to you with all the work that you have ahead of you, because it is very hard.
Thank you, and that work is not ending, so I don't want anybody to think that we're at the quote-unquote end of our road just with your approval of this contract. That was terrible, I apologize.
No, that's why I thank you, because I know that you're still going to have to do work, so thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
for everything you do.
Other questions from the board?
To the chair.
Well, anybody else before we go? Okay, go ahead.
To the chair, I move approval of a 3-year contract with the Michigan Humane Society expiring December 31st, 2027, in the amount of $82,380 in year 1, $111,180 in year 2, and $150,000 in year 3. Funding will be allocated from Department 43,000 of the general fund.
Support.
Supported. So the motion is approval of the 3-year contract with Michigan Humane Society expiring December 31st, 2027, in the amount of $82,380 in year 1, $111,180 in year 2, and $150,000 in year 3. Funding will be allocated from Department 43000 of the general fund. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Treasurer Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Trustee Jackson.
Yes.
Clerk Sanders, yes. Trustee Reese.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor, absent. Trustee King.
Yes.
Supervisor McCray.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Unfortunately, it does, but yes. Thank you. Announcements from the board.
To the chair.
Trustee Reese.
I'm just speaking a lot today. This is maybe a PSA that nobody wants, but one of the things I found helpful with these meetings, you can go on our website. I believe it's redfordtwp.gov. Is that right?
Yep.
redfordtwp.gov. You can find all these board packets online. So if you're ever wondering, what are we talking about? What are all these things that we just kind of fly past? Those materials are publicly available. So if you wanted to read those in advance, you can see what we're going to talk about, what matters to you, and then you can even sign up for public comments before the meeting. So that's a great tool if you're wanting to get more engaged. But glad to see so many residents coming out all these meetings. It's wonderful.
To the chair.
Commissioner Kavanaugh.
I guess I do have to say something. Just wanted to remind everybody that the taxes were extended, your property taxes were extended to the end of February. That would be February 28th at the latest. You can pay them on Friday, but if you need a little more time, it's February 28th. And after February 28th, if it's March 1st, they will be going to Wayne County. So you will not be paying here. If you're late, you will be paying Wayne County. So just an announcement, so yay.
Anything else from the board? Okay, I have one, if you'd please indulge me. Selma Good, a longtime resident here in Redford Township, passed away, so I want to read this brief. Longtime resident Selma Good passed away on January 23rd, 2025 at the age of 101.
Wow.
She lived her life as a warrior for peace, justice, equality. Selma moved into her newly built home on Robindale in Redford in 1957 and lived there until 2020. Selma Good worked tirelessly to make the world a better place. She and her husband, Bill, approached local Jewish institutions about welcoming Martin Luther King Jr. to Detroit. Selma was involved with Congress of Racial Equality Corps. The Anti-Defamation League objected and ultimately refused to fear the walk to freedom down Woodward Avenue would lead to rioting. Undeterred, Selma and other Corps members worked with Reverend C.L. Franklin to dispel rumors that people were planning to bring guns to the march, which ultimately was both the picture of peaceful assembly and the first iteration of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. Selma Good worked tirelessly and never wavered in her pursuit of racial and economic justice. She was a courageous organizer and a fearless fighter for justice for the working class, especially poor mothers through the West Side Mothers, which she co-founded. The Detroit Jews for Justice honored her by bestowing the inaugural Myra Wolfgang Award because she was a world-class community organizer, an ally, an advocate who harnessed the political power of a population at its most vulnerable, marginal, and aspirational poor moms. Selma was courageous, outspoken, smart, and a lot of fun. The world is better off because of her. Anything else from anybody? Thank you for being here tonight. This meeting is adjourned.
You're the first one to ask, because I have to.
Okay.